So, hi everybody, it's Pat Sloan. This is my Facebook Live, and we are Saturday night. Fun quilters. If you're going to party on Saturday night, party means quilting, this is the place. So it's Saturday, May 13th, 2017, if you're watching this on the replay. And I'm going to spend about half an hour just chatting, hanging out. I've got my tablet over here so that I can see what's going on with your questions. And if you're popping in, I have to refresh it. So if you're there, you can leave a comment down in the, in the area, and couple times I'll stop and see what's going on. I know it takes a little while for everybody to jump in and see what's happening. You should have a feed from seeing me, and then down later on I'll switch it over and show you the project that I've got down below. I've got a project to look at. I'm going to show you some other stuff. So what are we, the 13th of May. It's like, wow. I'm getting ready to be leaving to St. Louis early next week to go to the trade show, and that's going to be a lot of fun. It happens twice a year, and this is the first time for the spring trade show, which is quilt shops and industry people. It's not open to the public, but it's our business conference. And so the business conference is held in the spring. It changes, and this is the first time we've been in St. Louis, and I'm pretty excited because I've not been to that convention center, and it's always new and fun. So who's down there? Let's see. Linda, Marjorie, Kathy, Susie, woohoo, Angela. So I know a lot of you. I told you today, this time I've put out on the Facebook a little banner that told you what time we're going to start. And of course, if you're not available, you can always watch it later. So tonight I thought I would share with you some of the stuff that that we're doing together. I'll show you some things. So today I had published the Little Foxes button project. And I thought it'd be neat to show you how I did my version from the pattern. So I've got this set up. See this up here? I'm going to show you what that's about. I'm going to show you the paper and this little sketch. What I'm going to do is actually switch it over to the close-up. So if I put this down here, there is, I'm going to unpin. This is what you use Wonder Clips for. They're like good for everything, right? I'm using it like a paper clip. So here is the Little Foxes pattern that the Fat Quarter Shop did, the fox design, which is so stinking cute. I mean, I just can't stand it. And I thought, okay, I need to, right away my brain was coming up with an idea. And so I thought, I want to make it like a small wall hanging. So I did this little sketch, I did a little heart, but I thought, no. So what I did is I sketched a bigger heart like this, because what I had done, let me get it down here. There we go. Can you see? So this is my sketch. I took the little fox, their little fox, and I thought I just wanted to do this wreath. And I thought it would be really, really fun to do the wreath and make the big heart and then put all the buttons on the vine. So I'm going to switch back here. So somebody just left me a comment and said about my hair. Sheila was saying my hair looks really nice. Thank you. Yesterday I got it cut and I got new color, We're that age, you have to have color. So I have a new person who's doing my hair, Hedgie, and she's very nice. And so I yesterday went and had the whole new thing done. So that's what's going on here. Thanks for noticing. It feels much better. Doesn't always happen when you get your hair done. It feels much better. So yeah. Okay, so my technical support team has just told me that it's a little better for me to hold this further down so you can actually see it. Apparently it was all blurry, so we don't want it to be all blurry. But there is my sketch that became the foxes. So so this is the foxes. If you haven't gone to my website and seen the foxes, this is what it looks like. This is my little fox. My mouse just went on the floor and broke. So the technical support team is now here again. This is what's called live. I may have killed the mouse. If that's the case, I'm going to have to use the space bar, which apparently will work, but I don't have a lot of space when I'm sitting at the sewing machine. Last time I was over on the other side of my table, and when I was on the other side of the table, I was able to have more space. So does it work? I'm required to actually test it by the technical support team. Okay, so there we go. Yes, it works. Thank you. Okay, that's what happens. Okay, so that's one of the things I wanted to show you. You can go to my blogs@passlone.com, and this is what's currently out there. So I stuck behind me my ironing board like a table because, I thought that would be pretty good. Let's see who's checking in. I saw Mobile, Alabama there. I go through Mobile a lot on the way to Houston. Well, no, I don't actually go to Mobile on the way to Houston. I go way up north of your state. I've been to Mobile. So, how am I enjoying my new space? Sharon asked. I love it, love it, love it. Like I wrote on Facebook the other day, I could not find some stuff still. When I go look for it, and I found it, that I couldn't remember where I'd stored it. But, it's just like if you moved your house and you don't put your room back exactly the same because your space is different, and you haven't opened your boxes because you moved your house for like 6 months or whatever. Yeah, it's about like that. So I'm in the same space and I can't find anything. But I'm getting there. I'm pretty much getting there now. So Lois, you need to turn up your volume if you can't hear me, because my volume is really good. I'm wearing a mic, so if you can't hear me, if anybody can't hear me, I have really good sound on this system. So if you're having trouble hearing, check your equipment. Turn up your volume, change devices, change browsers, do something on your end. Because my mic is like right here by my mouth, and it can't get any louder than that. Okay. What else did I want to show you? So some of the other projects that we're doing, of course, is the solstice. And this last block was the 12-inch, a 12-inch block. And so I did mine. Here it is. Ta-da! This is called Tile Time. So that's at I Love to Make Quilts website. And this is the one, this is my version because I'm doing mine in all red and white. So this is what I did for mine. Now I can put mine in my quilt now and do that whole one section. And if you're looking for these blocks, you see tons and tons of people doing them on the Facebook group. You can get them at I Love to Make Quilts. If you just go to the pinned post or just go to passlone.com, you can find all these things. So let me see what else somebody's asking. Okay, lots of people can join in. You can hit the little like button if you're there. That's always fun. Yeah, ironing boards are great, aren't they? Because they're like another table, and you can adjust it up or down. I use it for photography a lot, where I might like lower it so I can do a photo down on top of it. But you see it a lot. So, okay. Ooh, Gold Coast of Queensland. Hi, Adele. You just, you're the end of your Mother's Day, or does your Mother's Day yesterday? I get confused. Australia is so large, just like the United States and Canada. I mean, they're wide, and so they have all these different time zones, and you get in other time zones. So I don't know what time zone you're in. Oh, let's see. I brought a couple more things to show you, and then I thought maybe we'd sew a bit. Now, a lot of you know about my project, the Children's Library, which is over at the Free Quilt Patterns website. And the Children's Library is a project where I'm doing 10 blocks in a setting, or is it 9 blocks in a setting this year? 10 sections. Yes, 10 sections. And so each one, though, I decided that it would be great to feature a children's book. You know, the block does not depict the book, but the block is sort of inspired by these children's books. And so the last one that we did was number 5, which was Green Eggs and Ham. Ta-da! That's my number 5. And I'm doing mine in 2 colorways. You're going to see that one. And then I have to reach back here and get the other one. And then here's the other colorway. And that's got, can you see the pineapples? Yeah. I had to buy more pineapples because I'm afraid I'm going to run out of pineapples by the time I do everything. This one was already done all in advance, but I like to sew along again with you, and I'm doing that one. So I decided that I was very afraid that maybe the pineapple fabric would be gone, like heaven forbid, and I couldn't get it anymore. So I bought more pineapple fabric the other day. I think I have enough now to do this project. It's just so cute. I don't know. I just like the pineapples. So some of the other blocks were, let's see. I'm just going to grab. See, here's the alternate ones. No, let me get this group because I had, yeah, so this is like, there's a star, we have Alice in Wonderland, Curious George, and Mother Goose Rhymes, all different ones. And these are all 12-inch blocks. I think this is my favorite. I think I need a whole quilt out of this one. I think that's the Alice in Wonderland. Yes, because that's my favorite book, my favorite children's book of all time, which really isn't like a little kid's book, but that is my favorite book. I actually got a Kindle version so that I could listen to it on my Kindle. Let me see what's going on at the comments. This is like multitasking. It's good I don't mind multitasking. Seeing what you're doing, saying hello. I know somebody wanted to ask me a question tonight, but I've forgotten who it was. So if you were the person who wanted to ask me a question, I'm going to move this over here a little bit and see what's going on. So we all have pretty exciting lives on Saturday night. Quilting. It's the best. Just the best. I'm going to sew tonight after we're done chatting. I'm going to show you what I'm going to sew on. I'm actually going to sew a little bit with you here tonight on a baby quilt because I need to get the baby quilt done. The baby's due the end of June, so I need to work on it. Hello, 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 Linda, Cheryl, Connie, Delinda, Betty, Argyle, Texas. I'd like to, that's a neat town name, Cindy, Argyle, because it's kind of fabric-y, you know, Argyle Designs. So, Sherry's using her seam ripper. You know what, there's nothing wrong with using your seam ripper. I had to use mine today. That's my story. There's nothing wrong with it. It's part of the job. It's like you can't make great things unless sometimes you have to make an adjustment. So, so Linda says it's Mother's Day in Australia right now. Whatever part of Australia Linda's in, it's still Mother's Day. I know I was talking to Jane, and I wished her Happy Mother's Day, and it's still the day there for her. All right, I want to, does anybody have a question? I was going to say, if you have a question, go ahead and put it in, and I'll watch for it real quick. Oh, there's Bernadette from Israel. Hey, thanks. Is it late there? I mean, what is that, like a 5-hour difference? What is it, like 1 in the morning? It's 9 o'clock here. Oh my goodness, you people. Delaware is just over the way from me. 2 a.m. in the UK. See? It's probably 2 a.m. in Israel, too. Who's in the UK? Jane. Jane Barney's in the UK. Okay, I don't see a question from anybody. So what I want to do is, I don't see any question at the moment. I have to keep scanning here. So, all right. Okay, what iron do I use? Okay, there's a question. Nancy Baker asks, what iron do I use? Well, I have, you probably can't see it, but, well, back behind me, see the pink iron? That's my Olicio. And if you go to my website, I did a review. If you click on the right sidebar where it says product reviews, I just did a review of the Olicio. I don't have it plugged in back there because I'm not going to do any pressing, for this event. But I just stuck it back there because I've got all this camera equipment up on this side. Okay, let's take a look. I'm going to switch now, and we're going to, let's see, got to do this. We're going to transition over here. So this project, do you recognize it? Do you recognize what that is? These, we talked about it. These are, last time when we did Facebook Live, I told you I was going to do the baby quilt, and I was auditioning with, okay, let me switch this so you can see this super cute here, right? These super cute little boys fabric. I decided this would be little boy fabric. It has the elephant. There's a giraffe. See, with the little kid. And then here's one with the children and the balloons. So this is a cotton and steel print. I'll put all the info in the page when the live is done. I'll go in and update it with everything I'm talking about. So anything I talked about, you'll be able to go to see on the post what it was. So here's what I did. After we talked last week, I cut out all the shapes for 9 blocks. This is my block from the Solstice project called the Coffee Shop. This is a coffee shop block. So it's all squares and rectangles. And because I decided that I'm going to do them all the same, then I just went ahead and cut everything, because I can do some major chain piecing and do these blocks really, really fast. So I thought I'd show you. First of all, though, I want to tell you that when you're fussy cutting, so this print here, when I was fussy cutting from this, these guys are scattered. They're not all packed together. They're pretty widespread all around the fabric. And so in order to cut them, I would put the ruler, and then trim around. Well, the problem is when you do that, sometimes you sort of slice past, right? So you slice past. Well, then you have to be careful, because what I found tonight is when I was setting this up, let me show you this. Whoops, let me get it down here. Can you see this? Can you see where I cut into, I don't know if you can see that. You see this part where this finger is? I actually had cut past a 1/4 inch, and I hadn't noticed it because when it was laying flat, you didn't see it. So that means this guy will be cut down to a 2.5 inch square and then put in my bin for scrap blocks. Okay, the other thing that I did is I decided I would just go ahead and get backing for this project. So here we go. This is a baby quilt, and I decided that I would do flannel. And I have a feeling that I got more than I need. I didn't do any math. I think I just ordered 2 yards, but maybe because it's fluffy. It just, I haven't opened it. It just came. And so this is a flannel, soft flannel. But the one, it's a printed flannel, so that means both sides are fuzzy. So I'm going to use this for the backing of the baby quilt. And I haven't worked with flannel for a little while, so that'll be fun. So now, how am I going to chain piece this? I started looking at it. I want to be really, really efficient, because that's why I cut the whole thing out first. When you cut it out first, then you can sew the most efficient manner. So first of all, I've got these units here, these 2 guys. So these are repeated here, and then they're repeated here, right? Same units here, and then over here. So all the way around the quilt. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 times. Those are all the exact same units. So what does that mean? That means I can stack up all of those and chain piece, boom, 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 right through, and then go and press all of them and stack them back out here, so that I can be super, super efficient and not have to do anything in kind of a block building order. I can do these subunits super, super fast. So let's see what you're doing out here. Okay, so I've got my tablet, I've got my Kindle, so that I can see what you're talking about. Let's see if there's a question before. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to stack those and sew them, because why not? We're here together. I've got to make the quilt, and maybe someday you'll have your tablet up like this, and you could have a sewing project. You could be sewing along while we're talking. I don't know. You like that idea? You think that would work? How come it stopped? It's still running as far as I can tell. I'm still live. I think it's still live. So Pat, just refresh your screen. That's probably all you need to do, because it's still showing live. So I don't think anything bad happened. I actually need to wake up my sewing machine. There we go. And I'm going to get it ready. So let's see. Which block is this? Madeline, this is the coffee shop block from the Solstice project. I love to make quilts. That my website, I love to make quilts. This is the Solstice project. This is the coffee shop block. Okay. Why don't I make strips for those pieces and sew together? Well, Julie, that's another option, is you could do the long width of fabric strips and sew them together. And I think I just was in mode to cut them up in advance, so I didn't do that. But that is another option. There's actually many ways to accomplish something. You don't have to do it the same way every time. If I was making this scrappy, then I definitely would have to cut individual units. So what are my thoughts on, Sherry wanted to know, what are my thoughts on Fleece or Minky? Fleece or Minky for backing? They're great. I think Minky, which is a poly with a non-fuzzy back on it, is much more durable than Fleece. Fleece is fine, but I think it doesn't wear as well. And that's because I have quilts with both, and the Fleece pills, at least the ones that I've used, maybe I didn't get higher quality ones, but the Minky type fabrics and the dimples, there's a bunch of different names, they're awesome. I much prefer those over Fleece personally. So, okay. So we answered those. So let me just move this, and I am going to stack these guys. I'm going to go ahead and flip over here. So I'm going to do is stack all of these, right, from all 4 spots, so that if you were doing this scrappy instead of the same, you could have this whole stack all scrappy, you know, especially if you didn't really care where the positions were. It was just scrappy. Maybe these were all scrappy lights, and it really didn't matter what they went with. So you could just stack them up like that, and then the same with the darks. Now, if you'll notice, this is a directional fabric. Can you tell that? See, it's got like a clamshell. So I'm going to stack them with my clamshells all going the same way, so that when I sew these together, the light is always at the top part of the clamshell, so that when I go to place them, they're all the same. I'm being a little structured that way. Now, I did not. Now, one of the other things you could do is that some people might take these and make them all go right side up, but you see I didn't, because I cut them just as they were. So I'm leaving that. I am not going to put them all right side up. So if I'm going to sew them, you can see on my machine there, I'm going to have just be able to chain piece through and do a whole bunch. There's 9 times 4. You can do the math. That's how many of these there are. And once they're done, then I would go and press them all. And then I would be looking at all the units to see how can I set them up, how can I get a whole bunch of them that are the same, so I can once again stack them like this. So I can stack and go instead of, instead of doing the more laborious way. So now, one of the people who had suggested, doing strips, if you're doing all the same fabric, you could have done a long strip, and then you would subcut these afterwards into the right size. So that's the other way you would do that. Now, of course, I'm not going to sit here and sew all these, because this would be like watching paint dry. It's just not that exciting. But I wanted to show you the process that I use, because when I cut everything up at once, it's really to be efficient. I often work on blocks individually. I work on one block and then figure out the fabric for the next block. Maybe because it's a sampler and they're not the same blocks, or maybe because a lot of times my quilts have a lot of different fabrics. Like take the roundabout, which has different blocks, but also, even if a few of the blocks are the same, they have different fabric placement. And I just find it sometimes a bit confusing if I really want fabric to be in a certain spot. If I really want fabric to be in a certain spot, then I want to do the block one at a time. And I don't mind that. But if you're doing something that's either super scrappy or pretty much all the same fabric, then you get the benefit of pre-cutting everything so that you can just go like fly through the sewing part. And so that's pretty fun. So I'm going to put the tablet up. I'm going to see what's going on. So I have a question. When you're sewing like this, let's say you're doing like I have here, and you have all this stuff pre-cut. What are you doing while you're sewing mindlessly like this? When you have all this, maybe you're just doing a ton of sewing. What are you doing? Are you listening to music? Are you watching? Do you have like a TV in your studio? Or in your space? I mean, do you sew in the living? I know some people like bring their stuff into the living room, have a spot in the living room so they can be with their family and the family's watching TV or on their computers or whatever, and they're sewing and they can see everybody. Do you have a tablet like this and put it like on top of your sewing machine and watch a movie, or what do you do? Tell me tell me down here what's going on. What do you do? I'm kind of curious what other people do. Yay! You don't bar tack. I'm so used to doing it with garments. Karen Cole wanted to know about bar tacking. No, when I chain piece, I'm just going one way. I don't go forward and backward ever on patchwork, ever. And I came from garment sewing. I don't do that. I just go forward. It's got another seam that's going to connect it in there. So that would just be a waste of time for me. What is your pattern? What is my pattern laying on? Oh, that's a good question. Okay. So this thing here, this is a design board. See the edge of it? And you can buy them at the Fat Quarter Shop. Some people make them, but I would rather make other things. This is a big one. They come in smaller sizes. I'll put a link in the page but you can buy them purchased. I think Connecting Threads has them. A couple places have them. They're by Lori Holt. But they're just great because they're very light and styrofoam, and I could stack them up if I wanted to. But they're called design boards, and I'll link to them so you can go and find them. I just find it easier to purchase them. I don't want to fiddle around with making styrofoam and fuzzy stuff and edges and all that. I would rather just buy it. That's just me. Okay, so people are watching television when they're sewing, music. Let's see. Oh, baseball. We've got baseball fans on there. Who said they were watching baseball? That may have scrolled by. Oh, there we go. No, Rosalie. Rosalie says she watches basketball or baseball. Let's see. Music. Talking to your cockatoo. Well, Candy has a cockatoo. That's kind of fun. I guess I used to talk to the dogs, except for the dogs would, when I had dogs, which was years ago, they would lay on the floor under my feet, you know, like where the foot pedal is, right? That's where your fuzzy animals go. They go down where they look through the, well, I didn't have cats, but cats look in here, right? They want to sit on top of the machine. Okay. Catching up on TV shows, Hulu, Netflix, Amazon movies. Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. When you're doing that kind of mindless sewing where you don't really need to so much concentrate, where you've got everything laid out like this, where you have, you know, 2 stacks, and you're basically just, you know, layering them and going through, you really can let your mind do something else and not get so, you know, caught up in focus, you know, because this should be fun. You don't want to always have to be really, really focused. Although sometimes that's fun to do. Like if you're doing, some of the blocks on the Splendid Sampler are have quite a few pieces, and they take some skill, and you have to think about them a little bit. And that's also fun because it makes you really focus and sort of disconnect from the other things that you're doing in the world, you know, your own world, and you can just think about that project and put all of your focus into making it work. And I find that very satisfying, you know, to sort of switch gears, let your mind just sort of get like out of those other places and work on that. So, okay. So we've been on here a little while. You know, the time goes really fast. So I will sign off for tonight. And I am going to sew baby blocks and see how much of this I get done this evening. And thank you very much for coming and joining me and jumping in on Saturday night. And love seeing you here. The recording will be up there in a few minutes, and then I will go fill in all the stuff I talked about so you can get the links and go find it and know what it's all about. So I'm Pat Sloan. Thanks for, before I go, I forgot to tell you, we now have over 90,000 people on Quilt Along with Pat Sloan. 90,000. 90,000. That's 10,000 less than 100,000. Do the math. And so we are huge. We have quilters from all over the world, literally all over the world, because I approve nearly everybody for the group, so I see where everybody's from if they list. So I'm just honored and thrilled that you've joined my Facebook group, my community, my quilt community, and you're so amazing. So 90,000, that's only 10,000 more till. And we're like the biggest group on Facebook right now for quilters, the biggest quilt group. Just blows me away. Really, really happy to have you sew with me and hang out. So we will catch you online. I will go update everything here in a minute. I'm Pat Sloan. Have a good night.